Okay, so in this lesson today, we're going to be working with integers, and we're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So first thing that we're going to go over is we'll go over our learning targets. You can see that you can perform operations with integers as your first learning target, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that actually means. So the first word that you might be questioning is operations. And operations is what we were just talking about on the last couple of slides. It's the adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, so forth. So we're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with our integers. But what if you don't know what integers mean? So let's talk about the definition of integers. Integers include all your negative whole numbers, your zero, and all your positive whole numbers. And you can see that dot, dot, dot is on both sides, meaning that you can be talking about going all the way to as negative as you want to go, or all the way as positive as you want to go. Second thing is I know I have it when I can complete the assignment without a calculator. And then that you're learning this because these operations will help you complete math problems with ease. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the rule for adding and subtracting integer rules. So we're talking about our first two is same sign. So we have two positives or two negatives. When you're adding and subtracting integers with the same sign, you're going to just keep whatever sign it is and add your whole numbers. So a positive and a positive stays positive. 3 plus 14 we know is positive 17. Negative and negative means same sign, and then add your numbers. So negative 2 and negative 11 stays negative. Add your numbers 2 and 11 to give you 13. And you can see this example right under it is the same exact thing. Negative 2 minus 11 is just like saying negative 2 plus a negative 11 to give you that negative 13 again. Second rule that we're talking about is when we're adding and subtracting integers and they're different signs. So the rule for that is you're going to keep the sign of whatever number is bigger, and then you're going to subtract your two numbers. So let's say you have a positive and a negative, and the positive number is bigger. It's going to stay positive. So I have 9 plus a negative 1. My answer is going to stay positive since 9 is bigger, and I'll subtract just my numbers 9 minus 1 to give me 8. Just like if you have a positive and a negative, but this time the negative is bigger, you're going to keep the sign of the bigger number, so it'll stay negative. So 8 plus a negative 20, since my 20 is bigger than 8 and 20 is negative, my answer will be negative. And then I look at just my numbers and I subtract 20 minus 8 to give me 12. Now you're going to have the chance to do a problem on your own. So type into the bar what negative 4 plus 10 is. And then your next answer, type in what 13 plus negative 19 equals. And then on to our next rule is when we're using multiplication and division with integers. If you have a positive and a positive, it's going to stay positive. Like if you're doing 4 times 5, you'll get 20. And this next piece is just to show you that if you have two numbers that are in parentheses with no sign in between, you're going to be multiplying still to get 20. If you're multiplying and dividing and you have two negative numbers, those negatives cancel each other out and it becomes positive again. So negative 12 divided by negative 2 actually turns positive to positive 6. So here's another example for you to do. Type in what negative 7 times negative 7 is. And then our next rule is when we have different signs when we're multiplying and dividing. So if we have one number that's positive and one number that's negative, we're going to stay negative. So 2 times negative 25 keeps me at negative 50. Same thing again, negative 1 times 108 just makes my 108 negative. Here's your example. Do negative 28 divided by 4. And then our last rule is when we have double negatives right next to each other. So if I have a number minus a negative number, you're going to take those minus and negatives and turn it into addition. So negative 29 minus negative 3. Whoops. These two negatives right next to each other turn positive. So now I have negative 29 plus 3. I need to keep the sign of the bigger number. My 29 is bigger, so my answer is going to be negative. And then 29 minus 3 gives me my 26. Here's your example to do on your own. Negative 5 minus a negative 6. And we have last 5 examples to complete our integers lesson. So negative 15 plus 7, different signs, keep the sign of the bigger number. So my 15 is bigger, it's gonna stay at negative. Subtract my two numbers, 15 minus 7, to give me negative 8. For B, I have negative 75 minus negative 75. That double negative tells me I'm really adding them. Negative 75 plus 75 will leave me at 0. For C, I have 6 times a negative 8. One negative when multiplying or dividing keeps me negative, so negative 48. Then my next example, D, negative 9 minus 13 is just like saying negative 9 plus negative 13. Same sign, keep it, negative 13. 9 plus 13 is going to give me negative 22. And then my final example, negative 3 plus 6. You take the sign of the bigger number. Your 6 is bigger, so it's positive. 6 minus 3 leaves me at 3.